Hello. I'm gonna do something fun. Let's do this. I just realized the other day that you can't hear it. I mean, I can't hear it, but I can put music on in the background. Just kind of fun. I have no idea what these are though, because they don't fade track in and out. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, I can hear it now. Okay, what's this one? Let's play around with it. While I'm waiting for people to come in. Where's me chat? Comments. There we go. My dog got a bone and he's being very possessive of it. I'm going to play around with different. Oh, and then I can add my own. What's this one? Oh, there's somebody in here. Hello. Hey, 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 hey. Hello. I'm gonna turn my heat up. Well, maybe it is turned up. Nope, it's not. Smells like a dog in here. Smells like a wet dog. How you doing? Turn the media back on. Chatting going on. Hi, Lady Wiser. How are you? Happy New Year to you too. I don't know why let's see something. Yeah, how are you doing? I'm gonna be sharing a video interview actually that was done. It was me and a lady named Robin Heron. I did have a good Christmas. I was with my kids. Let's see. I'm gonna take this earbud out. It's not helping. It's not connecting. I did have a good Christmas. I went early. After Thanksgiving, it was the 29th of November, and I went early, and my grandkids opened their presents from me, and my daughters opened their presents from me. And yeah, it was good. It was wonderful. It was really a wonderful trip. What about you? So that was early. It feels weird to not have, Christmas at my home, but my kids are all, away in Portland, so. Here. Adjust my screen here. So. If my dog gets too loud, I will have to close out and go back up on my phone. I don't know if I can go on StreamYard on my phone. I don't think I can. I think I've tried and I couldn't. Yours was good. Nice. Sounds like it was just quiet. You didn't have to cook much? Or maybe you like cooking. I like cooking, but we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. If you go back and look, there's actually videos of when I went on the trip. I think the title says At My Daughter's or something. Anyway, and then one of them says Brazilian steakhouse because we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And they sprang, my daughter and her boyfriend sprang for the dinner. They paid for me and my daughter, which was really nice because Brazilian steakhouse is all you can eat meat. So it's kind of spendy. Spiced warm apples. Oh, well, that's pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. It was yummy. It was super good. Yeah, you can go back and look at it. I kind of gave a detailed sort of description of what it's like, what a Brazilian steakhouse is like. It's, it's not an all the time thing because it's about, it depends. It's somewhere around $60 depending on the place. It was $69 or whatever. What did you eat? Yeah. I made carnivore deviled eggs with bacon mayo. I'm going to try the bacon mayo again, make it again, and do a better job because I didn't have everything I needed. I wanted some good seeded, the mustard with the seeds in it. Yum. That's right. We talked. So you're carnivore, right? Or keto? Carnivore. Yes? Cool. I had a pretty easy time sticking to it. I made a carnivore cheesecake and I ate on that, but it didn't seem to spike my blood sugar, and that was the goal. And I stayed in ketosis, I think, through that. That's the main goal. So something popped me out of ketosis yesterday, but I'm back in today. I'm trying to remember what I did yesterday. That sometimes the funniest things put me out of ketosis, things you wouldn't think of, things that are carnivore, but maybe, I ate cheese for a snack, and I think that popped me out of ketosis. Oh, I see. I gotcha. That's too bad you have stomach issues. It's amazing. I've heard of a lot of people healing from. There's somebody else in here you want to chat to? I'm going to go ahead and pull up a video. It's actually me. So it's kind of funny. We're going to watch me watching me. You watching me watching me. Okay? And we can chat during it too, because I'll pause it and comment. And you guys can comment too on it. So feel free to interact. What am I hearing? I don't know what I'm hearing. Okay. So let me go here. Even move. But my life became like that. And I'm not there for her. And I sat on the, to make me cry, sat on the couch for the rest of the day, and I just couldn't even move. But my life became like that. Like I was in bed more often than not.
Kathy, how did you find carnivore?
Well, it actually does go back to when I was a child, because I had migraines. I got migraines, and I didn't know even what a migraine was. I just knew I needed to hide out. Couldn't, light would bother me, noise would bother me, nausea, all those things. And it was very concerning. And then I guess I figured out on my own that what I was eating or not eat, if I wasn't eating often enough, then it would give me a migraine. So I figured out that I needed protein. I needed meat. So what I did was I started to eat and figure out, even as a child, what made me feel better. And so I, through a process of, just testing myself, does cake make me feel good? No. Does bread by itself or chips or whatever, usually junk food, made me feel really crappy. So my family cooked home cooked meals most of the time. And that was good. But for me, it always had to center around meat. I didn't figure out the fat portion of carnivore until I became carnivore, until I researched it. But when I was a kid, if I said, when I got hungry, it was hangry. It was like, I got to eat, and I got to eat now. And I guess my mother was the same way. It seems like everybody in the family has some blood sugar sensitivities anyway, low, high, whatever it is. I'm just going to break in a little bit here. This is Dave Mack. He's really good. He does carnivore, low carb interviews with people. And that's pretty much all he does. Once in a while, he'll have some different kinds of videos, but it's all, he's a really good interviewer, actually. I really like him. So there's another interview that I did with Robin Heron, and we'll skip to that here in a few. Let me move this to a faster speed too. And so I just figured that out. One time we were out and about, high schoolers,
in the car. I was hungry. I said, I got to eat now. They said, you know, we'll grab some chips. And I'm like, no. So anyway, I figured that out. And the headaches were fewer and far between, and it hinged on what I did, what I ate. And then when I was 30, I got diagnosed with, about 30, I got diagnosed with, after my first child, I got diagnosed with low thyroid, or maybe it was maybe 4 years later than that. Anyway, but I had been tired through my childhood, fatigue. And so I went ahead and, my mother took me to the doctor quite a bit, to figure out why I was so tired all the time. I did get mono when I was 10, and it was a pretty severe case. I was sick from Thanksgiving all the way through probably my birthday, January 10th. I was pretty sick. I was out of school for over a month. And anyway, so fatigue was an issue. And so then when I was in my mid 30s, I finally found out, after they put me on antidepressants, they did all these tests, heart for my heart, because I had an irregular heartbeat. I had a heart stress test, and they even gave me the pills or whatever to calm down a heart palpitation. I had all kinds of digestive issues, like especially constipation, like severe, and therefore bleeding hemorrhoids. I know that's WTMI, but sometimes carnivore is WTMI, our story. So anyway, they couldn't figure out what was going on and threw a bunch of stuff at it and tests at it and everything. And finally, they thought to take my thyroid panel. And when they did, they found it was low. So I started taking the synthetic medication, the levothyroxine, the Synthroid, tried, different ones through the years. And it did help. It helped. But my whole life, I feel like I've been throwing spaghetti at the wall to figure out what I'm supposed to eat, right? And what would help my health issues, and figuring out what those were. And so anyway, it did help. And then I've just gone on a quest to figure out my thyroid, to get it dialed in when I don't feel great, what would make it better. And the blood sugar still had to be dialed in. I know that I ate terrible when my kids were little, because I was tired, because I had thyroid issues and didn't know, or was trying to dial it in or whatever. And I know that
Yeah. When you got the young kids, it's just everything you can do just to get by, right? So
exactly. Macaroni and cheese, ramen with maybe meat and vegetables added in to just try to bump it up a little bit. Something to put on the table. But I got very exhausted. Part of my story is that before I was diagnosed with the thyroid, I was pretty much bedridden. I would get up to do the very, very basics, and I had little kids. My oldest daughter was very independent, so she would take care of things and didn't seem too perturbed by it. Seemed to kind of like the leadership role. But that was terrible. They put me on a sleep medication because my sleep was all off. I had night terrors for years, and I'm not sure if that was because of my diet. I had that since I was a kid, or, what exactly it was. I do know that now I don't have that anymore. In my mid 40s, the night terrors went away. Lots of prayer. I tried this medication for sleep. And I said, will it affect me the next day? And he said, oh, no, just take it at dinner time or just before dinner. You'll be fine. It'll help you sleep. And then in the morning, you'll wake up. Well, the next day, my daughter came in the room at 3 years old with her backpack and her jacket, and she had eaten and she had done everything for herself. And I peeked one eyeball open because that's all I could manage. And I'm like, oh, brother, she's getting on the bus. And I'm not there for her. And I sat to make me cry, sat on the couch for the rest of the day, and I just couldn't even move. But my life became like that. Like I was in bed more often than not. And they really didn't know what was wrong with me. And the only time I would leave the house is if my family was going on a trip and I wanted to be with them, or we had to go somewhere and I had to do it. But it was forced, So it wasn't good. Anyway, so back to the thyroid medicine. It did help. And then I researched more. And as I did, I found out that NP thyroid, or Armour thyroid, the natural version, is much better. And that your thyroid works with the T3 and the T4 and not just one, because I believe the synthetic only produces T4. And so,
Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, I don't know who would do the strike, but if I play too much of this, there's a fair use rule. And even though it's me playing it, I don't know if YouTube would do the strike or if Dave Mack would do it. I don't know who would. I think maybe YouTube does. So I need to be careful and interrupt and talk in between. I don't have anybody in here, sadly. I'm gonna, but for the replay, I'm gonna do this for a little bit more and then I'll go to the next one.
anyway, it's much better. So I have been on that for years. So I can't remember the synthetic anymore. It's been that many years. So I'm 61 now. And let's see, I found carnivore in the end through this process of throwing spaghetti at the wall and saying, okay, there's still something more. There's still something more optimal that I want to do. I need to do. And I don't know what it is exactly. But then again, you think about it, if I figured out that it was protein, that it was meat, it had something to do with meat. And I went vegan. So in the process of throwing spaghetti at the wall, I went vegan, vegetarian, vegan, somewhere in that ballpark, you know? And it did make me feel better for a while. And then it didn't. And so I was vegan vegetarian for about 3 years. And then I went keto vegan, keto vegetarian. I can't remember if it was vegetarian or vegan at that point, but anyway, I started really researching, okay, which, plant foods are highest in protein. Can I make this work? Don't ask me why I went the plant-based route, but yeah.
Can I just jump in and ask? So 3 years vegan, so it was kind of a graph like this. You got better and then you started to feel bad.
Yes.
What was the period of time where it was like, oh, I'm feeling better now. Oh, things are getting bad. Was it 1 year feeling good, 2 years feeling bad? How did that work?
Well, I think I just didn't. It's hard to figure out what that pattern really was, because I think it was up and down, and I think my hormones weren't altogether great because you're going through menopause, you're going through, all those different, hormonal changes, and I know that affected, where I was at too. And I wasn't getting any support from like bioidentical hormones or anything like that. I thought maybe if I focused on plants that I would, be able to help fix something. And I didn't get migraines back, amazingly. And when I went keto vegan, which was really a trick, it was really difficult. It was not simple at all. But I gave it a crack. And then pretty soon I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to add some meat back in. So I started adding a little bit of meat back in, trying to stay more. I love bread. I'm going to say it. I love bread. And I did sourdough bread. I tried fermented foods. I had tried all kinds of, I made my own kombucha. I even went to juicing, but I tried to add greens in because those are higher protein. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't overdose on spinach and just kill myself with oxalates, but, and I don't know how I didn't get migraines, but I didn't. And if I, anyway, so I got a juicer. I was going to open my own food truck. I'm a chef too. I went to culinary school during this time and I was vegan during the time. So I made my foods that I made usually for school were vegan. It was from home, actually. It was an at-home course, which was interesting, but it was a Escoffier culinary school. Then I worked as a chef and I worked the vegan station, and I also worked some of the other stations. I floated, but anyway, I didn't eat. I knew in my gut, and I also knew by the way I felt when I ate it, that soy wasn't a good idea. Do not eat soy. I tried one of those burgers, the Beyond Burger, once, and then I looked at the ingredients, and I'm like, holy cow, no. A lot of bad oils, a lot of the soy, and all that stuff. So anyway, so I started adding in meat, and then I went keto. And I wasn't super duper on point about it, but I was lowering my carbs down to 50, 20 grams a day. So, I got more and more serious about it, I guess. And then finally I cut out the sourdough. That was a rough one. And stopped juicing, and then I'm researching carnivore too. But I thought that Dr. Berry, he's the one I first listened to. I thought he was so crazy. I think we all think, that carnivore has got to be absolutely bonkers at first. And so I kept watching though, because I'm like, I know I'm not optimal. I know there's still more healing that could happen in my body with my thyroid, even on the natural thyroid or whatever. And my doctor wasn't doing all the tests that need to be done. So he admitted to me finally that he didn't know how to interpret anything else except for the most basic TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone tests. So anyway, but I kept listening, and I started watching a few different people. I'm not sure who all at first, but there were a few. And then I just said, I've tried everything else. My energy level isn't where I would like it to be. My health isn't optimal. I'd like to be more active. So I did it. Because I had been keto, I think it was a little bit easier. I did get some of the keto flu, they call it, symptoms.
Hello, I see we have one person in here again. We're just watching an interview that was done with me by, of my testimonial of my carnivore journey, and Dave Mack did it. And his channel is, well, it says No Carb Life. So he's really good. He has all kinds of interviews on his channel that he does.
Later on, I got the oxalate dumping. August 20th, 2023, I started. I did, start to feel better. It's been a slow healing, but I know there's healing happening. I was so constipated, and I really thought I was adding enough fat. I was trying to do it right. And I felt like, how it is at first. You feel like you're eating enough fat. But like Dr. Kild says, you have to really think of it as fativore. I stopped, went back to keto. And then I'm like, you know what? I kept watching the videos, and I'm like, I need to add more fat. I really just need to up it. So I did. So then I'd know if I went too far, because my bowels would say, oh, yeah, I kept going that time. So I probably I was on it for 2 weeks. I was probably off for maybe a month, and then started back up again.
So what was it that made you stick with it? What kind of improvements did you see?
Like I said, it's been slow, but I felt like if I was adding plants in and they were causing histamine reactions, and they were causing, different things to happen in my body that shouldn't happen, like gut issues, like even once I added in sparkling water from Costco that has a little bit of flavoring in it, just a little bit, like lemon or grapefruit. They have different flavors. And I thought, oh, this one will be okay. It's clean enough. I looked at the ingredients. Well, no, apparently not. My gut biome said it. And so it just made me think, well, I think I really am on the right track. And maybe it's healing that I can't necessarily see, like my thyroid, which is really my focus. But I also hadn't been to the dentist in 7 years. And when I went, I didn't have any new cavities. And after I started having children, cavities got terrible. I didn't have cavities, in my whole adult life till after I had kids, and then cavities. And I think when I went vegan, it was worse, you know. And so the receding gums have gone down. I still have a spot that is still healing in my mouth, but my gums do not bleed when I floss, and they used to all the time. And I floss a lot now that I'm carnivore, a couple times a day, you know, and I just don't have the pain in my mouth. And I went for a cleaning, and they keep wanting to see me, and I'm just like, my mouth feels great. I don't think I need to go to the dentist as much at all. Oh, and the other funny thing was I all of a sudden realized that I didn't have any cellulite anymore. Like no cellulite. So that was fun. And I did lose weight. That wasn't my main goal, but I lost how many pounds? I was like 146 when I started, and now I'm, as of today, 129. So almost 20 pounds. And for somebody who wasn't really going for weight loss necessarily, I knew I could be a more optimal weight. And my weight did creep up. Like before that, I weighed almost 160, and on a frame that's only 5'4", barely 5'4". I don't think, you know, that's a great standard of weight.
So let me ask, how is your thyroid, and how is like the your tiredness throughout the day?
Right. So I guess that's what's hard about my story, is that it's had a lot of dips and turns, and I'm still struggling with my energy level. However, I started horseback riding a year ago, and I'm able to do that 1 to 2 times a week, and it would be more if I could, but I love it. And I did it when I was a kid. And so to have not done it for years and be able to add that back on and be able to, I can be more active. So my energy level is down again. Yeah, it's aggravating to me, but I'm not going to stop, because I talked to actually a medical professional who is carnivore, and she was evaluating a lab that I had, not a blood lab, but another procedure that I had. And it was encouraging to me, because I have doubts, you know, about carnivore, and I want to say, well, it's just not working for me. And then I just get rebolstered, and I go back and I keep doing it, keep going, tweak it, dial it in better. That's been my experience. And I wish I could say I was not tired anymore, but I will say that my thyroid panel looks much better. So when I had my blood work done, and then I actually had a naturopath that has prescribed lower dose bioidentical hormones to also support the thyroid. And that has been helpful as well. I am wanting to enter into the process of dialing those hormones back, because I think that now that I've been in ketosis, I have to be my own medical. I think we do. We have to become our own best judge of what is working or might work. And I'm still willing to do that experiment. You know, sometimes it's hard for me to think about sharing my testimony because of carnivore, because it is so dippy and turny.
So how do you eat day to day?
So I have added sardines in a little bit every day. I try to keep them in because they help my ketones and my blood sugar. I eat usually chuck steak. I find it's really good and cheaper because I get it from Costco, and I cut it myself. And so it's as cheap as ground.
How often are you eating during the day?
I eat twice a day. Once in a while I'll eat one meal because I don't feel like, usually it's a bigger meal and then a small meal in the evening.
Well, so Kathy, it'd be really good if you could perhaps come back in 6 months or so and let us know how you're going, because it'd be really good to see if things have improved for you in that time.
Yeah,
Be willing to come back on and do another one of these.
I would love that. It would make me feel better too about the I want to be honest about it, but I don't want to quit.
In the meantime, if people want to reach out to you, do you have a way of getting in contact?
My YouTube is Carnivore Catherine.
No worries. I'll link to both of your channels below. Kathy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I have a very long list because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that's a collagen disorder, connective tissue disorder. I don't make good collagen. And so I call EDS the equal opportunist to
Okay, I found one that I could put up. This lady has Ehlers-Danlos or Danlos syndrome, and she's explaining it.
To mess anything up because it really can. But with that, you get POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I also have mast cell with it, and mast cell activation disorder. That's a histamine disorder. My list is so very long. More importantly, though, than those things, I have about 6 congenital heart issues. I have 2 holes in my heart. I have a pacemaker because my heart was pausing too long. It's not a defibrillator. It's just an electrical current that would kind of not jump over where it's supposed to be. And several other things wrong in my heart. And I also have a bidirectional shunt in my heart, which one of the problems that
I'm just showing some of my testimonials that I found on Carnivore, and I played my own testimonial too before this, so if you want to watch the replay.
was having was being able to walk. In my home, I had an electric wheelchair. Notice the word "had" that I used anytime I was outside of my home. I didn't use it in my home because I hardly ever stood up, so I didn't really need it. But outside of my home, I was dependent on it for quite some time. And it's something that I wish that I wouldn't have had to have done. But I thank goodness for that wheelchair. It gave me my life back a little bit. I sat at home for many years, unable to do the things I wanted to do, and a lot of the things that I had to do. Well, I started January 20th, 24 on Carnivore. And by the second week of March, I was able to take my wheelchair and put it in storage because I didn't need it anymore. So I've gone all that time. It's been nice. When I first started, I couldn't even stand up long enough to fry an egg. And now I can fry 6 eggs if I want to and clean up after myself after I've cooked. And, things are a lot better. I still have a lot of trouble standing for too long because of the shunting in my heart. It messes with the way that your blood flows with your oxygen and don't even understand all of it, but yes.
Wow. So you're moving around much more freely though than you were before, and the wheelchair's gone.
Yes, the wheelchair is gone. The batteries are still on my couch that I need to go take to storage. So it's my only memory of the wheelchair in the house. Yes.
Wow. So like as a picture of your normal day to day, how have things changed? Practically.
Very much so, with my mind being so much more clear than it was. I had extremely bad brain fog. And proof is that it's better because I would always end up saying brain frog. That's how much brain fog I had. Also my depression is gone. I had very bad depression, and I'm an author, a writer. I've written some Carnivore children's books, and I've been a lot more clear to be able to write those and be more creative. And when situations come up that would have depressed me before, I don't get that knee-jerk reaction of, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I'm so overwhelmed. I might as well kill myself. Because I know where my depression took me all the time. Now I'm like, oh, that's a problem. You know what? If I tried this and then I did that, and I'm able to think through things and progress through problems without it being depressing at all. To me, that is amazing because that's more than half of my battle. Because I was so disabled by not being able to get out and go do what I want as a photographer. So I had to take all of my pictures from inside of my car because I didn't have the ability to get out and walk around. And my personality is that I can find the bright side to any situation. So I always used to kid with myself and say, well, I'll be that one weirdo on Good Morning America that is famous for taking pictures out of her car. That's not what I want to be famous for. But so that is my personality, that I can always find a workaround of some kind. But in reality, I felt like I was lying to myself, and it was very depressing, And so every time I came up against a challenge, it just fed more of that depression. Both of my parents had passed away in the past 5 and 7 years, and I'm not married. I don't have any children, and I'm very, very alone. And so it was difficult to find support and people to come help me and do the things that I needed done at home. And, but slowly, now that I'm better, I'm able to start doing those things myself. And that's so much an encouragement to me. I'm a very, very determined person. And I just look and see possibility all around me. And I'm kind of at that point in Carnivore. I think it happens in different stages for some people, but my brain is way far ahead of my energy. And I really feel like if my body could keep up with my energy, I would have a million things done tonight by 6 o'clock. Just really not fun to live with. But since doing Carnivore, probably since about April, I've noticed that I hardly ever dislocate anything. And if I do, the pain doesn't last nearly as long. And my overall pain is gone. That's amazing. And those in my chronic fatigue, it's getting a little better. I was sleeping anywhere from 2 to 3 hours a night, not even all at the same time in those 2 to 3 hours. So now I'm averaging 4 to 6 hours a night.
Now, I'm going to mention this because I have a friend who has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. She's had it since she was a child. And it's terrible. Dislocating everything, pain, just really fragile. You become very, very fragile. And so this woman had Ehlers-Danlos, or still does, or whatever, however you say it, Ehlers-Danlos. And she, a lot of her symptoms, what she's saying. So listen to what she's saying. Her joints aren't dislocating anymore and stuff. So it's pretty amazing what carnivore can do.
Of uninterrupted sleep. And I think the main reason is because my pain is so much better. My pain was waking me up, and so I've had every blood test that you can think of, that everything for the first time in my life is smack dab in the middle. So I think I have PCOS and hypothyroidism and several other autoimmune, a whole list of autoimmune disorders. And so far, I really believe that, I don't know to say if they're in remission is the right thing or they're gone, but my blood tests are showing that I do not have those problems as of now. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like in another 3 to 6 months.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so have you given any feedback to the people that recommended that you do this?
Yes, of course. And they're very excited. Yes. I don't see them very much anymore, but yes. And I'm so thankful that they told me, because I've also, you know what, Dave, it seems like everything that I say, there's one more step of what I had that, and I know so many people have so many illnesses that they deal with that carnivore helps them. And I'm waiting for the day when I can say, have a conversation with someone and they tell me all the things that are wrong with their grandmother that I'm not thinking, oh, I have that. Oh, I have that. I'm waiting for that day. But I also had gastric bypass surgery and was told, you cannot do carnivore with gastric bypass surgery. I had that in 2014. And I initially lost about 75 pounds, maybe around 80 total from the very beginning. And I moved home to try to help my parents while my dad was in stage cancer. And I lived with my mom for 2.5 to 3 years. And I probably gained only 35 of that initial that I lost. I never did lose my whole amount of weight. As a matter of fact, with POTS, when you're losing weight, it makes your POTS worse sometimes. So now with carnivore, I've lost 56 pounds. And so it's the lowest weight that I've ever been in my entire adult life, actually, right now. So I'm not complaining about that. But I didn't do it for weight loss. I did it for health, knowing that weight loss would follow.
The thing about the weight loss on carnivore is it's, even people that go into it with weight loss being the main goal end up feeling like, oh, this isn't the main thing. This is just the icing on the cake,
Mm-hmm. Yes, or the grease on the bacon. We don't want to talk about cake. I'm just kidding.
True. Very good point. So day to day, how are you eating?
So this is very interesting, because when you have gastric bypass surgery, you cannot eat a lot of fat at one time. If you eat carbs, sugar, fat, fried food, those things, it causes a terrible thing called dumping syndrome. And it's really, they designed it that way so that if that happens to you, you never want it to happen again. And it's supposed to help you moderate your eating, basically, is the premise behind that. So my stomach is about the size of an egg, supposedly. It doesn't really, your pouch, it's called a pouch, and it can't really stretch out after surgery. People think that it does. And you go from being able to eat like a fourth of a cup of food right after surgery till about a year. A normal plate of food is what you should be able to eat and stay full so that you're not hungry for about 3 to 4 hours. And it's encouraged that you eat several times a day. Well, those people that I know that have gastric bypass surgery, I haven't met anybody yet that lost all of their weight and has kept it off. I think I'm the only one that I know that only gained back 35 pounds. Everybody usually goes where they were before and over, just like any weight loss program that people do when they stop doing it. So I was having a hard time getting my fat in, and Nisha at one point, Nisha Berry, told me to partner my fat with some protein, like put extra butter in eggs or on a meat patty or something like that. So I started doing that, and that helped. But I was still having some issues and just feeling like I wasn't getting enough to eat and not getting enough fat. So I decided that I would go back to the rules of gastric bypass surgery, which are that you eat smaller amounts and you do not drink anything during your meal, like 30 minutes before, during the time you eat, and 30 minutes after. I'm assuming, nobody's told me this, but I'm assuming because that liquid will then wash the food past your small intestine where you only have a little bit of small intestine. So if your food doesn't get absorbed while it's hit that spot, you're not going to absorb it. And so I started using more eggs, started making chaffles. If you haven't made a chaffle, it's just like a waffle, but a CH, go look it up. I use cheese with my chaffle and eggs, usually 1 egg, sometimes 2. This is an example of one that I would make. I would put some cheddar cheese down, crack an egg, and then put some pepperonis on there, maybe a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and then a little bit of the cheddar cheese on top to make it crispy. And then I'll either put butter on it after it's done, or I'll dip it in cream cheese, or spread cream cheese on it, or same thing with sour cream. And so I'm getting my fat in different ways. And I did as an experiment starting, let's see, what is this? This is November, starting at the beginning of October. And I've lost, I think, 6 or 7 pounds doing this. So it hasn't slowed my weight loss down, but it's actually given it a little pickup. I'm losing approximately 2 pounds a week, which is a very normal weight.
Sorry, I clicked on the wrong tab. Okay. I wanted to explain that it seems counterintuitive that fat would make you lose weight, but that's what she's saying. She added fat in and it helps her lose weight because you become fat burning. You don't have the carbs for your body. Sorry. Eating sardines and talking at the same time. Not working. Okay. So
weight loss, for somebody that's trying. So that's mainly what I eat. I eat meat maybe 2 to 3 times a week. That's it. Been on carnivore since January. Still have not eaten a single bite of steak. Yeah, so I'm usually eating brisket or hot dogs because I can cut them in half and put them in the air fryer, and some sausage links, things like that. And I do drink protein drinks. I drink a lot of bone broth. I have 2 different flavors, a chocolate flavored, which is excellent, and a strawberry flavor. I usually drink them hot, and I put coconut oil in them or butter. And then I also have another protein drink I drink if I feel like I'm just needing something. But it's hard to eat with gastric bypass surgery if you feel full, because you definitely can get stuck, and then you end up vomiting because it just sits there and it's painful. A lot of people that have gastric bypass surgery don't talk about that. I think it also happens with sleeve, possibly sleeve surgery. But so there's always a workaround. I don't care what it is I'm doing, I'm having to find a workaround. But
I think it's cool that she's stuck with it, because she just, like me, she doesn't want to quit, and she knows it's bringing healing and stuff. So it's inspiring. Her story is very inspiring. So we'll keep going.
But I like that because I'm creative and it gives me a challenge.
There's so much to consider. Like, I think a lot of people that have never done something like this would think that the gastric surgery, you're just taking the easy way out. But it doesn't sound like the easy way out at all, right?
Not at all. Gastric bypass surgery was probably the hardest thing I've done. And thank goodness I was never really a sweet eater. I'm a salt eater. So carnivore works really well for that. And one of the things that I do that helps me with that, well, in the beginning, I don't worry about this anymore at all. But in the beginning, because my life literally, before I started carnivore, I lived off of tortilla chips and salsa because I didn't have to cook them. I could keep them right by my chair. I felt like death warmed over most days. With EDS, you generally feel like a normal person feels on the worst day of the flu for them. You just don't feel good. And so that's a lot better for me too. But that was basically my diet, or I went to somewhere and bought things. And in the beginning, I had to buy already cooked food. So I bought already cooked hamburger patties. So I didn't have to do anything but put it in the microwave. I learned how to make my eggs in the microwave because I couldn't stand up long enough to scramble them or fry them. And my cleanup was better because it was the same dish that I cooked and I ate out of. And I also spent a lot of time watching Laura Spat that had all the tips about going out to eat. So I learned how to go to McDonald's, get meat patties. And, so now I do Sonic. I don't know if many people have Sonic, maybe it's just a Southern thing, but I go there if I'm on my running somewhere and I haven't had time to fix breakfast, and just go order a couple of sides of bacon, and it's great. So I still get to feel like I'm doing my old routine without having to feel like I'm punishing myself or something of that nature.
And what is the reaction to people around you?
Dave, that's a really interesting question, because my mom put me on my first diet when I was 8 years old, and she had me on a major diet every year of my growing up, even until I went to college. And bless her heart, she was trying her best to help me. But what it really taught me was that she was never happy with me. So I was never happy with me. I was never happy with the way I looked. I was never comfortable, because I felt like she always wanted to change me. And I know that wasn't her intention. When we're kids, we perceive things a lot differently than our adult minds do. But sometimes that gets stuck in your core beliefs, and you have to work on that stuff, But so she would also I lived in a small town, and she would tell people I was on a diet, and then they would watch me to see if I cheated or not. And my doctor, my very first diet, I was in 3rd grade, he paid me money for each pound that I lost. I can't remember. It must have been $1 a pound, because I made $30. I lost 30 pounds when I was 8 years old. So, that's probably wasn't a cool thing for him to do. But at the same time, he knew me very well and knew that my personality is to challenge myself. So in the long run, I appreciate that. But now when I go somewhere, I think of a way to open up a conversation with someone. Or even if this is a good example. So I'm standing in line at the grocery store and I see you yawn. I was like, oh goodness, are you tired a lot? You know what? I used to be tired, but I started eating a carnivore diet, and you wouldn't believe it. I find the wildest ways to tell people. I tell everybody that I see, and I tell them how much weight I've lost. And the lady where I go pick up my brisket, she started carnivore. My counselor started carnivore. I have 2 or 3 other people have started carnivore just from my testimony of me telling them how good I feel. So, I have no problem telling people now. And before, I would have never told someone that I was on a diet, never in a million years. And if I told you how much I weighed, I'd probably have to take you out back and kill you, because nobody was allowed to know that either.
So it's obviously done something for your confidence, no? Because I mean, even now, I would struggle to just strike up a conversation with someone in a line and tell them about whether it's this topic or some other topic,
Well, as you can tell, I'm a little bit shy. No, I'm not shy at all. I'm a missionary, and so it's easy for me to talk to people. And I just think it's important too. I have an important message to share with people, and this is where the children's books come in. Was thinking today that parents that want to give their carnivore child a birthday just like every other kid has, or like they had when they were a kid, and wants to give them a cake and they can have one piece, it's not loving your child. You're actually setting them up to tomorrow. Oh, mommy, can I have another piece of that cake? You're opening a door that could be dangerous for them, when in reality, if you explain to them, even if they're 5 years old, you explain to them why we don't eat these certain things and what they can do to your body. And remember Grandma Smith and how she limped around all the time? It's because she ate, just to educate the children. And so this is why myself and my co-author have written these children books, to help expose kids to the truth of what the difference between eating beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, and whatever you might allow for your child. I think sometimes in seasoned fruit, or I'm not sure what all the kids do. But just to educate them, and then a way to tell their friends and share with their friends. And we're making the kids who, in our book series, the kids who tell their friends about carnivore, then they become a superhuman power food hero, and to get to join that club. So we're really excited about developing all of that, But if my mom would have sat down and explained to me, maybe I would have understood, maybe I wouldn't, that, this is for your health. I want you to be healthy. And, instead of, well, you're the biggest kid in class and we don't want that, do we? And so what happened is I was hungry. So I would hide with basically cans of mushroom soup and bread, and I would go hide in my closet and eat it. I was hungry. She had me on a diet. She wasn't starving me by any means, but it wasn't a carnivore diet that I was eating either. So I'm sure, carbs were spiking, things of that nature. And was told a lot of times, the whole house is suffering because of you. So, you can't cheat, but, and so I just want kids to know it doesn't have to be like that. I want parents to know that they don't have to treat their kids like that you can start healthy. And I was thinking about, what if you had a child that had a peanut allergy and they were invited to their friend's birthday party?
So I have to click back and forth between the page, but I wanted to post what Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is. Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of a long explanation, but it's very clear. This friend of mine that has it, she does have very thin skin, and it makes you get, cuts and scrapes, and it's hard to explain because your skin is so fragile that just bumping it, bruising and all of that stuff, it's really tough. And the dislocating, just the pain, it's hard to imagine. So the fact she's doing as well as she is, she doesn't have to use a walker or wheelchair or anything.
Tell me that that mother would not call the host and say, my child has peanut allergy. Please don't serve anything at your home with that. Would you do that if you had a carnivore child? No, but I was thinking, why not? Why not take your own treat for everybody to have? Take some bacon, take some whipped cream with some in-season fruit, and for everybody to have, and so everybody can still participate. And you just have to be creative and think outside of the box. And that's one thing that I, by myself telling other people about carnivore and talking to them about their children with carnivore, I hope that I spur that on in people to think outside of the box.
Yeah, it's a very good point about the peanut allergy. Like we seem to have this, even if we know the carbs are bad, we seem to have this feeling like, yeah, but we can't say anything because then people are going to think we're weird or whatever. But it's like, it's a toxin. It's like your body doesn't like this stuff, but we still go, oh yeah, but we'll just go along to get along kind of thing.
Yes, I was thinking too about on your birthday, we all feel like, oh, it's my birthday.
So I just think it's so amazing that carnivore can help so many things. Cancer, Ehlers-Danlos. It reverses things and heals things in the body. And gives you the nutrients and the nutrition that you need. And cuts out the carbs so that your blood sugar isn't going all over the place.
You know what, I'm going to have a piece of cake because it's my birthday. I deserve it. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. If you really, truly loved yourself, you wouldn't feed yourself something that's going to give you any type of harm at all. One bite of birthday cake for some people is too much when they're dealing with carb addiction. So why not do something completely different? Go to the park with your friends, go to a painting class, go do something extraordinary for your birthday that doesn't involve eating. And then if you really want to celebrate, go buy the expensive steak that you never allow yourself to have if you're carnivore. There's so much more you can do besides just trying to reward yourself. And quite frankly, when I thought about this too, just today, actually. So if you tell yourself, maybe I learned this as a teenager, oh, I lost 20 pounds, I'm going to reward myself with a Snickers. No. So with carnivore, oh, it's my birthday and I've done so well, I'm going to reward myself on my birthday with some cake. And then you fall off the wagon, so to speak. Well, you fall off the wagon because there's probably some past trauma, something about your self-esteem that you're not happy with, something going on inside that is keeping you from being able to do what you need to do to have the best you that there is. Maybe you somewhere inside and you don't even realize, maybe you feel like you don't deserve to be the best you. I suffered with that for a long time. So this is another thing that carnivore has done with me with that depression. I'm able to think through things, like this and come up with a better answer. And, I don't care if I never have another birthday to celebrate with anybody ever. If it's my birthday and I feel like I want something, I'm going to think about, oh man, for a year now, I've been eating all of this and I feel so good. I want to feel better. So I'm going to eat extra bacon today. I mean, that's a little silly, but I hope you get my point there.
Yeah. And, it's always important to remember, I think it may have been Michaela Peterson that said this, but nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
I always thought when people said that they were lying because I never felt healthy because I was, just never did. But I certainly, compared to most people, don't feel healthy yet, but compared to where I was, leaps and bounds ahead. And the truth of the matter is, because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, that's not going to go away. Can it get better? Yes. Can my pain go away? Can my dislocations get better? Yes. But I'm never going to be 100% compared to what most people would call 100%. Maybe my 100% is somebody else's 75%, but to me, that's 100%. And I've had to learn how to live with that. And so my pain tolerance is, off the charts. Most people with EDS, it is because you're so used to getting injured, So I look forward to where I'm going to be this time next year. If I've come this far in this amount of time and I had such a deficit where I started in my health, I can't imagine what it's going to be like next year after that. Yeah. Even with heart palpitations, I felt them every day, all day long. Now I'll feel maybe 3 times a week. I'll go, those have been missing. Oh, I felt that one. That's awesome.
So when you went over to carnivore, did you go through any transition symptoms?
Honestly, I don't think that I did because I had so many other things going on. But I just decided that I'm going to do this, and I can tell you I haven't had a single craving. I don't know if that's by the grace of God, pure determination, or I was just consistent in what I did. And consistency is what wins the game because that consistently is accumulative, and I can look at all the progress that I've had. One thing that I certainly did to help me, and I think that this is so, so important, I set goals for myself. And I wanted to pull up really quickly so I don't misspeak on which ones I did. But I had a system of keeping my goals. I wrote them down. And this is what I did. I did an analysis of my goals, which basically was what what I wanted to do. I need help. Things are bad. I looked at where I was. What can I do to help myself? I couldn't really help myself. Then I wrote down the objectives. How was I going to help myself? I was going to eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And I put some more things with that. Then I looked at my strategy. How am I going to do that? Because I couldn't cook it for myself. How am I going to do this? And so I came up with buying pre-cooked food, pre-cooked hamburger patties. If I had to, I would have brought pre-boiled eggs if I needed to. And then the next thing I did was action. What action do I have to take to make this happen? Well, I had to do a little bit of research. I had to find where I could grocery shop and find the already cooked things, and then the best way to prepare those things. And then my mindset, I had to change.
Not everyone has to be as diligent as she did in order to make this work, but it's really impressive how she just kept doing it. Amazing. And didn't stop. And it helped her.
Change my mindset that I could do this. This is a challenge. I'm going to take this as a challenge and a puzzle, like I'm in a game show, and to see if I can win the prize, instead of, well, I probably won't be able to do that Thursday, because if I do something Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to have to rest Wednesday through Saturday. I didn't do that to myself. I changed my mindset. Every day I'll do what I can do, and I won't let myself starve on any single day. So I have to have a plan for that. And the last thing was the solution. Why? Not just why am I doing this, but what am I going to accomplish at the end? What is possible? And I didn't even know. So I wrote down some possibilities. And that goal setting really helped. I made myself a little chart that I could do online. So I made little stickers of beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And for every single day, like a 5-year-old, I put a little picture in there. And I did the 90-day challenge, and I broke it down in 30 days. And I weighed every day. I also took a picture of everything that I ate so that I would have in my head what portion filled me up. If I liked it, if I didn't like it, I still take pictures, not every single day, but most of the time. But and since I started eating more of the gastric bypass, slowly in smaller amounts, now I'll take a picture of the beginning, and then I'll take a picture of when I felt full, the second that I felt full, and then I'll go back. I'll take a picture of what that is, and then I'll go back and finish that. And that let me get pictures in my head instead of something I was missing. Well, I really miss those tortilla chips because they take zero effort. So I had it right on my phone. I could go look at it. It helped me plan what I was going to do the next time. And things like that are what helped me. I also would write down how hungry I was before I ate. I only did this for 3 months, by the way. And I didn't even do the whole 3 months. How I felt before I ate, how hungry I was. Did I enjoy the food? How I felt afterwards. And that helped me start dealing with some of the emotional reasons why I ate or didn't want to eat or whatever, And so I just...
Oh, I forgot to mute myself. So I didn't journal about it, but I went ahead and noted it, what things made me feel better as far as food, because when I was a child, I had migraines. And so I did keep track of it. So similar to that, mostly afterwards, how I felt. But it's good. I mean, she's talking about how she feels before and after. It's really good information. And I would say that journaling through this process, even as you're further on, like right now, I need to be journaling because I've been tweaking things and adjusting, and it would just be good for me to have dates and everything. And as I share, my testimony about how I did it and how it's going for me, it's just helpful to have it all written down. It helps me to look back and see where I've come from.
Had a plan and stuck with it. And I told myself when I started, this is 3 months of my life. If I hate it in 3 months, I've had no improvements, I can go do whatever I want. I don't have to keep doing this. It's a free country in my head most of the time, a lot more free now than it was. So that I just set myself up for success, and that's something else that I try to help people realize, if you just write down, take pictures,
just for a few more minutes, we're just going to finish this one up, and then I'll say goodbye because nobody's in here. So I'll be doing some real, just daily stuff what I do in a day or whatever. I'm going to the horsey barn on Tuesday. I have lost total track of the days of the week because it's Christmas time, and it's been the holidays, you know, and I didn't have my regular routine. Riding and everything helps me keep track of what day it is.
Pay attention to what you're doing. You cannot do carnivore and not pay attention, at least until you get the hang of things, in my opinion. You know, and that 30-day, 90-day is perfect. It's like training, you know. How long does it take to break a habit? Is it 30 days and develop a new habit? 30 days. So maybe that's why 90 works so well. 30 days to break the habit, 30 days to put the new habit, and 30 more days to practice it. I don't know.
Yeah. And yeah, I think once it's been 90 days, it's like, unless you've got some kind of bad reaction to something, it's like, well, I'm not going back.
Yes. And there have been plenty of things that I ate that I was like, oh, not doing that again. Or I didn't realize I like that, you know, and it's been easy for me to travel on the road too. I found things that I can take with me. If I get overly hungry, I always have something with me, because I think that's part of the battle too. Hunger is different with gastric bypass surgery than, like, I don't think I will ever be able to eat just one meal a day. Some days I'm just not hungry, but I don't plan on that. I plan to have at least 2 meals, if not 3. And one of those meals I consider bone broth, like in the morning. I usually don't eat anything until noon or after. And I try not to eat anything past 7. And if I find myself hungry at night, then I might have a jerky stick or another cup of bone broth. Or my favorite thing that I did beginning, bacon crumbles already cooked, put them at about 1/4 cup, maybe sprinkle a little cheese, put them in the microwave for about 45 seconds. It makes them extra crispy. You can feel like you're eating popcorn while you're watching a movie, or for my sake, chips, you know, but just a little bit so you can't go in thinking about that you're denying yourself. That's another big problem that will cause people to not be successful. You're not denying yourself. You're giving yourself a gift.
That's very well said. Yeah. So Amy, how do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. It's called Amy, a Carnivore Created in Secret. And it's pretty new.
I think that's so good. You can't say that you're denying yourself. You're actually giving yourself the gift of health, you know? Because if you think of what you're being, you know, what you're having to give up, that just is the wrong mindset. Her YouTube channel again is Amy, a Carnivore Created in Secret.
But I named it that because I didn't start telling anybody about carnivore until maybe 3 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I told strangers, but people that I knew, I didn't tell, especially people from my hometown, because I had been on so many diets and was still very heavy, and I just didn't want the pressure. I didn't want people asking me questions, you know. So, but now it's out. They'll either still love me or not. I don't know.
And how about your books? What are the names of the books? How can we find them?
Well, do you mind if I show them to you? I have them right here. So the first book that we did is called Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity. Let me see if I can get it in the right space. Oh, good grief.
I think because of your background,
there
maybe
we
it's,
go.
there we go.
I'll put it right in front of me. So it is a activity book, a comic book. It has coloring pages in it. There is a place to write your own recipes and make your own comics. It's basically it's a poem that I wrote, and my co-author and I put the pictures together in activity pages. And it's some encouragement and teaches about the standard American diet. And so it's a really fun, cute book. And a lot of people are saying some really great things about it. And the portion of these funds for this book are going for the fundraiser for the Healing Humanity movie. And you can find it on Amazon.
I'll leave the link for the Healing Humanity movie in the show notes. And I'll also leave her her YouTube channel there so that you can get to it easily. Yeah, I think it's so cool to have children's books like that to show kids how to eat healthy.
You can type in my name, Amy Hosp, or Lynn Devokie, if you know Lynn, or you can just look up Superhuman Power Foods on Amazon. And then my other book is called Sugar Cubie, the Sugar Monster. And these guys in the book, see if they're on the back. So Dr. Barry's children and his grandmother are starring in the book. This is his child and his 2 children and his grandmother. And Sugar Cubie comes and he sprinkles sugar in all of the lunch bags and snack bags of the children at school. And they go to visit, the children go to visit Dr. Berry's grandmother, Granny Berry, and they're grouchy. And she's like, why are you so grouchy? They're like, I don't know. So the Superhuman Power Foods comes in and helps Granny Berry teach the children about sugar. And Sugar Cubie Monster also learns that it's not good to give sugar to children. And so this one is a storybook rather than an activity book, but it's really cute and fun little story. And of course, the Berry children at the end become superhuman power food heroes for learning the lesson. And we have several more. Same thing, you can find this on Amazon by typing in my name or the name of the book. And they're great for grandparents to get their kids, if grandparents are doing carnivore and their parents aren't. Our hope is that the kids will ask mom and dad to help them do what's in the book, you know. And if you don't have, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you don't have any children, buy a book and put it in your local library or your local school library, definitely. So we just want to spread the word. There are no other books online or for sale anywhere that we have found that has carnivore books just for children. Nothing like this. So we're very excited that Lynn and I both have that same longing to help children understand from early age what to do.
Very nice. Well, I'll link to your YouTube channel below and also to the books. Amy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll put those links in the show notes. Her books and her YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. And I should be here tomorrow, I think, in the evening. Sounds good. Should be about between 5 and 6 o'clock. I'll post. Thanks.